Would it be G? Hey, Gnashing of Teeth. I don't even know what episode we're on, to be honest with you. 20.
Actually,
I think we're 23.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
23. Gnashing
Because
of
wasn't
Teeth.
our last one the Kabbalah?
Well, the last one I kept doing this. Two, 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 because it was easy to do for me to say it.
No, because I thought the thumbnail was that.
Well, I also did that.
Right?
Boom, the goat horns, remember? And you said it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can do 23. I can do 23. Do that thing. 323.
There
Or
you go.
like that. I don't know. 32. Whatever. I'm Casey.
Not Milo.
Episode 23. What are you drinking for episode 23, G?
I got a blue Gatorade.
Of course, staple.
I got tap water over there,
Good for you.
and I got a Happy Dad.
A happy dad. And I am happy.
I'm glad. You looked agitated a little
No,
earlier. I'm glad that you're looking good now.
I am not agitated, not one bit. I'm in a good mood.
Okay.
I'm in a good mood.
All right. Good for
I'm do
you. What are
I'm
you
doing
drinking?
Bud Light. Everyone's trying to cancel it. Don't know why. Me? Nope. Not gonna let you get me. I'm not gonna let you get me. I'm drinking it. I don't care. I don't care about the politics behind the whole thing.
There you go.
It is what it is. That's what.
And
That's
and
how
you know what?
talk to
Good
me.
for you. Good for you.
Good for you. I'm telling you. That's right. Good for you. What I'm doing is just supporting business. Someone makes it. It's the free world.
Exactly.
It's the free world. It's free market.
Mhm.
If someone creates a product that someone else wants and there's an exchange of cash, good for you. Good for them.
Exactly.
I I got some new books in. Do you want to see them?
Let's see them. Let's see them.
The first one is Elizabethan demonology. Look at this. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of it is like the works of like Shakespeare and how there's like some occult wisdom coming out of there.
Okay.
I obviously haven't read it yet, but it's that whole era right there. And
Mm,
where some of the writings they say are occult writings and occult knowledge that he had that he instilled into some of his stuff, and of course different things that were around that time. I think it's gonna be a good one.
there
The
you go.
next one, this is gonna be epic. So they say it's Hermes Trismegistus, of course, which we think could be Thoth or Toth. Also Ningish Zeta in the Sumerian there. Also Quetzalcoatl, also Mercury, also Hermes. And it's the divine Pymander. Take a look at that.
Yeah.
So back to like the Emerald Tablets kind of theories and stuff like that. So I'm pumped about that. And then I got this Jimmy Jim. I don't know how to say this. Thaumaturgia. So this is kind of what it looks like. And then of course it comes out, right? And then here's the
Oh, there
cover.
you go.
The cover is pretty banging.
Yeah.
I started getting into
Nice.
this one. It's I'm not sure where it's going yet, but
Yeah.
good stuff. This looks like something that would be in your collection.
Yeah. You've really upgraded from having PDFs, PDF printouts.
There we go. My volume was low for some reason. Uh, so then you and I got into the Kabbalah or the Kabbalah.
Kabbalah. Yeah.
So I went and
Yeah.
I got the Living Kabbalah because
Who's
we
that
did.
by?
This is by Will Parfit.
What's that? There you go. Yeah.
Will Parfit. We started doing Kabbalah stuff, and I went through my work, and I didn't really have a lot of Kabbalah. And then you destroyed me the whole show because I was just like, I don't have enough info. So this is the Kabbalah of the Kushite Zephaniah. Check this one out. And
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
written by Batya Davis. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you went a little bit book crazy there.
Yeah, I got one more to show you. But the back of
Oh,
this, check this out. The back of this one says the world within the world after a great war, race still matters and conflict continues. Nice job, everybody. Trying to make a difference, but no difference was made. Jesus was crucified. Nobody changed. All right. And then the last is Psalm 6, CXIX, the Hebrew alphabet, a rosary, and inventory, the Kabbalah, Scholars Edition. This. And
yeah.
the whole book is just like, you know, different books of writings from the Kabbalah.
Yeah.
Almost like
There
Psalms.
you go.
Anyway, so I got some reading material. I got some stuff there. Keep me busy and keep me sharp for the show. Have you got any new books lately?
There you go. Uh, no, I was gonna. There's quite a few that I want, but I've been hesitant on pulling the trigger. Maybe I will. So we'll see. We'll see.
I know you were
There's a
looking at
couple Norse books that I want.
one. I think it was a Lilith something or other that you were negotiating with a guy overseas, and you're trying to get him down a little bit for a good price. So last I remember.
Yeah, but they're getting a third edition of Liber Lilith
Ah,
pretty
there you go.
soon. I'll
There you go.
pull the trigger on that for sure. Um, there was one on eBay that I wanted. It was an Hecate book, which transitions greatly into our topic today. But before we get into the topic today, because she's a Greek deity, it's been a while. The audience doesn't know this, but we tried to film yesterday. Our internet was shoddy. It's probably still shoddy. I can't wait to see how I edit this one. And last week we took the week off, but we still had an episode in the chamber, the Kabbalah episode. So we took that week off, which was nice and refreshing. But we're
We're back.
back in it to win it.
I think every now and then, man, like every 20 episodes or something, we should, or what we do is we just take a day where we do 2, 3 in a row, and then give us a weekend off or whatever. You gotta, gives your mind a break because there's a lot of research that you and I do. I'm every week I'm pulling all my books out and I'm looking stuff up. So, but it's fun. It is fun as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
By the way, I shouldn't plug them because they don't answer any of my emails, but Blackcraft has a box and they get these boxes and I like to get them. This next box, which it comes in like, I don't know why I'm giving them plug. They don't ever answer me, but they come out with these boxes that they're like themed and whatever,
Yeah.
and they're cool. They're
Yeah.
cool. You get shirts and you get stickers and it's pretty cool. It is cool. And even though they don't answer emails, the other thing that's cool is this new box they have is called 666 and it's numbered 1 through 666. So hats off to the gent or gal who gets box 666. I'm just saying that's pretty epic. Now I may have read that wrong on their website, but that's what I got out of it. And hats off to those people. Constantinos in a book was talking about a Necronomicon that had only 1,000 editions and it was numbered as well. And King Diamond has number 666 of that Necronomicon, which would be an epic have. That is it. That's the pinnacle of the occult right there, I would say.
Potentially. I don't know if it's the pinnacle.
It's top. It's top. It's top.
But
it's top. It's numbered, and you got 666. That's the only one on Earth. King Diamond, lucky scoundrel.
That's true, but I got numbered books.
Yeah, you do. You go big.
It's all a game of luck. Like who?
Good for you.
I don't have 666, but
No, but
thank you. Thank
a
you. Good
numbered
for you
book.
too,
Good for you.
because you got some,
A numbered book's good. All right, we're both
and PDFs are good.
they are. They're good. It's about the wisdom. It's about the wisdom. I should number mine.
I agree.
I should go through and just be like, this is 6. This is 8. Uh, started looking into the Greek pantheon, and I'm a little confused. There's a couple things I took notes on, but this is a big thing. This is another big one, right? Like to get it done in the 20 minutes that we do, I don't know, but I'm a little confused. Here's what I know. There's a dude named Homer, and don't know when Homer was born, don't know when he walked, don't really know none of that. I know he does a lot of writing, and in his writing
Mhm.
is where they had kind of came up with the origin in the Pantheon. Am I correct? Is that a correct statement? That Homer's writing is where we're getting most of this?
Um, I don't want to misspeak because I don't truly know, but I think that it's like a portion, right? The Hellenistic era was a long time ago, and the revitalization of it, because I think there was like two separate periods, but it was like around 300 BC, and I think that Homer, as you described as a writer, you don't know when he's born or anything like that, so I'm not sure how much research you did on Homer, but I think that's
A little bit.
a little bit. I think that's a portion of it. The whole Greek and Hellenistic era and Pantheon and all of that is, there's not one set of like a systematic belief. Like it was very dependent on the area and region and things like that. So could he have contributed a lot? Yes, but it was a large contribution of many people.
Sure. Sure. One guy can't do the whole thing. You know what I mean? One guy
Right.
can't create this whole thing. I wouldn't think. Well, it took several people to do Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a big deal. A lot of moving parts. So,
Yeah.
in one of Homer's writings, he talks about everything started off chaos, just chaos. Okay. What that looks like and what that is, I don't know. Space, the abyss, I don't know. But then what was created was earth, night, day, love, and hell. Oddly enough, hell is in that Greek pantheon. So chaos, earth, night, day, love, and hell. Odd stuff. Odd to me. But the whole thing started off after that with Gaia. So it's Gaia. Gaia and Uranus or Uranus. Those two created what they call the Titans. Now, let's rewind a bit here.
Okay.
Gaia and Uranus remind me of planets. And in the Sumerian culture, they say Zechariah Sitchin, one of his what do you call it? One of his translations or whatever. They say the Sumerians said that
Mhm.
Tiamat and Apsu came together and mingled their waters. Now, this could be the same story written under different stars because I'm going to say they, and these are the scholars that work on translating the Sumerian tablets, that Tiamat and Apsu actually were planets that had collided, which is why we have an asteroid belt. Why would there be a bunch of debris in orbit around the sun? That's the asteroid belt. And they
Mhm.
think our moon might have came from there, or part of Earth came from there. Now this is Sumerian culture. Now, oddly enough, here comes the Greek pantheon, and here comes Gaia, Gaia, and Uranus, which is a planet, they come together to create the Titans. So again, I'm not saying that they're the same story under different stars. I'm just saying, oddly enough, here we go with planetary stuff again. Your thoughts on that?
Okay, so a couple things. So my
Yeah.
thoughts on like
Do you think?
the planetary thing as like a whole and has it how it relates to the Greek pantheon or how it relates to because you brought in Sumerian culture and
I did.
mythology into
I
that.
did. And I usually do, and I apologize for that. But that's my delta. That's my baseline, right?
Okay. So like what's my thoughts on how planets
Well,
relate
no,
to the Greek pantheon?
if the two stories are similar, like when you were doing your Greek pantheon research throughout your studies, did you run across any kind of like could be planetary analogy? Or do you think Gaia and Uranus are people who walked,
Okay. I
right?
don't think they're people who walk, but like at the same time, it's like a god or a goddess, somebody that necessarily like walked on the planet, like as it relates to how Christians view Jesus as he walked on the planet.
Right.
Right? There's like mythology, and then there's a claim of that magnitude. But I do think it could be a story reformed
Hmm.
and appropriated to fit the Greek narrative. I think that's very well possible. And the Greeks were they were into beauty,
Yeah.
constellations, mathematics. They were a revolution, the Renaissance.
Yes. It's a really elegant thing. The Greek
Mm-hmm.
gods and the whole thing is cool. Mount Olympus and the whole thing they got going on over there is pretty huge. So Gaia and Uranus, they somehow they get together. So whether that's planetary, sexual, physical, spiritual, don't know. They created the Titans. The
Mm-hmm.
Titans then created the gods. This reminds me of the Necronomicon now, because Necronomicon says, hey, before the gods and all this, there were the old ones, the ancient ones. There's this whole group of people that we don't even know about yet. The Sumerian culture says it too. When you start Sumerian culture, they talk about Enki, Enlil, and their father Anu. And then before Anu, it's just kind of lost. It's Tiamat and Apsu, and it's a little dragon, and there's like just crazy stuff when you start with the gods and then you try to back up, right?
Yeah.
So all of this connects to me now.
Yeah.
The gods were created by the Titans created by Gaia and Uranus. Like I just keep trying to go back. And it's very similar to the Necronomicon. When they say, oh, go back, there's things way before that, the ancient ones and the elder ones and the old ones. And then you look at Sumerian, they do the same thing. They back up to crazy origins.
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, the origin's simple, right? It's like, hey, there was God and then he made stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is wild to me. And that took me down a crazy road because I stopped studying the Greek pantheon and I went back to Necronomicon, Sumerian, trying to figure out what the origins were before gods. Now, when we go back to
Right.
the Greek pantheon, we talk about gods. That's that group with Zeus and those guys, right? Because
Mm-hmm. The
Zeus,
Olympian
the Olympian, because Zeus wasn't a Titan.
deities. He wasn't a Titan. There was 12 Olympian deities. They were like the main gods. Uh, Athena, Zeus, Artemis, Poseidon, and the other eight or whatever. The
Mhm.
Olympian deities. Yeah.
So then, who
Yeah.
was the who was Atlas? Was Atlas a god or a Titan? He held the planet on his shoulder.
How do you?
Isn't that Greek? He's from the Greek pantheon, isn't he? Atlas. Crazy how
Yeah. He
crazy how.
wasn't.
Oh no, go.
He was. I don't think he was a god.
I think he was a member of the Titans. I don't remember, but he was forced to carry the world on his shoulder. And oddly enough, Atlas is what
Yeah.
you call like road maps, which is
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
cool. Which is cool.
Yeah. For sure.
Um, did it lead you in your studies to Pandora's box?
Yeah. Like kind of, but not really. Pandora's box is like a story,
Right.
and it's not. There's many different stories, but I didn't necessarily spend too much time on it. But
Yeah.
since you brought it up, I'm sure you have something to provide for that.
I don't. It took me off the Greek pantheon again. So again, I'm studying it and I'm looking at my books and it keeps turning
Hmm.
me back to like me self-checking and self-referencing like where it's taken my mind. But when they started talking about Pandora's box, I flipped back out again because that's the box used in like the Hellraiser movies, and it's always a mystery. It's almost like a saying, well, we don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to open up Pandora's box, right? And it's also a
Yeah.
lot of people refer Pandora's box to the Ark of the Covenant. And so when I read that, I had to stop. I was like, okay, this is taking me down all kinds of corridors, all kinds of like craziness there. So let's start here, and I want to get your opinion on this. Titans, and then the gods, and then they're the different. So how did the Greek people like learn about this, and like were these gods worshipped and then slowly ripped away through like Christianity, or this is one of the few things that have stuck around, right? Because there's still statues and stuff of these things, isn't there?
Yeah, sculptures and stuff like that, and
Yeah, well,
art pieces and things like that.
so it didn't get completely ripped away from like Akhenaten's work, right? Like it's still pretty intact. It's still pretty popular. I don't hear about
Correct.
these.
There's a lot of Hellenistic pagans that worship the Greek deities in today's culture. You don't see a lot of people worshiping, like, not to say that there isn't any, but you don't see a lot of people worshiping Sumerian deities
No, at all.
because
Not
it's faded through times.
right.
But Greek is still not necessarily very alive, but there's a lot of pagans practicing the Hellenistic belief.
Yeah, we were just talking about how great it was for the Canaanite deities to still be surviving throughout time. And
Mhm.
in the Greek pantheon is very similar. They have withstood time and how time erodes just naturally things. And
Mhm.
oddly enough, there's a lot of Greek pantheon stuff that still exists. And you think it's rooted, do you think paganism over there is rooted in that then?
Like paganism as a whole is rooted by Greek.
Not as a whole, but maybe in that area, or if you were influenced by the Greek pantheon. Like how does that lead? How does the Greek pantheon lead us to the occult of today? Because I don't.
Yeah. So I did this a little bit differently in the
Sure.
Greek relation because I took a course, as you know, the Sorcery of Akate. I believe I did the
Yeah,
first and second course. It's by
it's awesome.
Jason Miller.
It's awesome.
So I knew a little bit about Akate, and I knew that she was kind of a part of the Greek pantheon. She is apparently both a Titan and goddess. I didn't
Okay.
get too much into that, but and I do believe Atlas was a Titan. It's starting to come back, but to get back on Akate, um, one of the stories, and I'll just put this because to kind of wrap up the Greek culture, I guess you could say, before we get into how it relates to the occult, is, they have a lot of storytelling, heroes saving the day and gods, coming down and, you know, sharing feelings with humans and things like that. One of the stories was a story of Persephone and how she got captured by Hades. And it's to explain how the seasons change. So it's a long story, but basically for a part of the year she spends in the underworld with Hades, and then a part of the year she spends her time with her mother Demeter. And when she goes from Demeter, her mother, to Hades, Hecate walks with her to the underworld, guides her through there. So Hecate symbolically has a hand in the heavens, the underworld, and the earth, and I think that's how she got her goddess title. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling.
No. Go through
So
it.
how does it? No, well, I basically kind of did. I just wanted to point out kind of the direction that I took. You went Homer, the origins, and how it kind of connects to all that jazz, and I kind of went through. Okay, well, I work quote unquote with Hecate. How does she fit in? And then I went from there.
No, yeah, and just for the audience to know, that's exactly how we do it. We just kind of get together and start chatting about different stuff we did, and then it'll lead us to a subject, and we'll say, okay, our subject's going to be, let's get into the Greek Pantheon a little bit. And then that's very vague. It just says Greek Pantheon. And so then you kind of start looking at what you want to do. And I'm not saying I didn't get more of the Greek Pantheon. I'm saying it kept taking me down different roads where I was like, man, I'm not
Yeah,
even
and it's
studying the Greek Pantheon anymore.
yeah. I when I think of like Greek and like their kind of religion and culture, this might be quite a big thing to say, but I feel like it's very central to like the whole human consciousness as a whole. Because it's the first time that we've kind of developed as like, this is going to be very blunt of me to say, maybe a little bit arrogant, but before Greece and the Greek people, we were like savages. That's very arrogant. It's very cocky to say. And it's not necessarily true, but we had like a shift of consciousness. You have these people that are all of a sudden interested in beauty and art and what people could consider the finer things of humanity. And they had beautiful storytelling, they had beautiful heroes and stuff. And I'm not saying that the culture itself was 100% beautiful, because there's obviously some bad things that happen in the culture itself. But as a whole, it kind of progressed us towards modernization, I should say.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think they're very central. And they took pieces from, how you're relating it to the Sumerians. And I'm sure they took a lot of different stories and things like that to formulate their own shebang. So,
If we compare what we know today, right? So,
mhm.
excuse me. What we know today. So there's a lot of things you can look back on as far as cultures, and you can, oh, our timer went. Okay, let me try to get this one out. You can tell a little bit about a civilization by their past, right? And if it's like, I like to look at structures. So if you think about ancient structures, Egypt has to come into the mind first, with the pyramids and the Sphinx and the library and all the different things they have over there, right? And then you
Mhm.
think of like South America has like Machu Picchu, and I know Turkey has like Göbekli Tepe, and I know that there's different places that boast their ancient structures, but Greece has to be number two as far as like their different structures with the huge pillars and the Colosseum and some of the different stuff they have, which totally
Mhm.
shows you, you know, it totally shows you their
Their
culture. Like,
levels above. previous civilizations.
Absolutely. There's big time stuff happening in those places.
Yep.
You know, you can go look at Indiana and we don't know what happened over there. I'm not sure what happened, but there's nothing really to brag about. I mean, I'm not putting down Indiana. I'm just saying, you know, like we do need places to grow corn. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying you look at Egypt, you look at Greece, the Greek. I dated in high school. I dated a girl and she hates me today, but I dated a girl, beautiful, and her mom was from Greece. Like her mom was like, she spoke different, she acted different. And I remember her like eating very minimal, like salads with like oil. And that's what she would eat.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, what an odd culture, but a beautiful one. And she was gorgeous. Anyway, and I remember thinking, wow, this is the first person I met that like has origins that aren't like American. Like we have Scottish in our blood, but we're not Scottish. You know, we don't like we are, but we're not.
Right.
Like, we don't talk. We're not from there. We don't talk it. You know, I have a kilt that you get when I die.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
There's a difference between being like in the culture,
exactly,
than actually having like the blood of the culture.
Yeah. And so she was secondhand, like Greece, like, and I think they went there to visit family and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, how cool is that? You know, that she was so connected there. But Greece, very cool. I don't know, man. There's a lot to talk about with this. We could almost do a separate. Do you have a bunch of info yet?
Yeah, I do. So it's we probably should have narrowed it down a little bit more to have been more concise, because obviously I could get into my workings with Hecate, and we can get into individual deities. We can get into the PGM, which is the Greek magical papyri, which has
cool
lists of incantations and rituals and
well,
a lot of stuff that relates to the occult. So I think that would be really interesting.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to, because our timer's kicked. Our timer's completely kicked. We have no time. Do you want to do you want to roll into a 24? And I'll let you just go off. You can just go off on that. And I don't have any of that info because my studies took me around.
Yeah, but I'd also like you to speak as well. So we could always
I'm going to
episode. It doesn't have to be.
I'm definitely going to speak. You know, there's no shutting this guy up. Hey, after a couple of these, I mean, come on now. We change.
We can do it in the not so distant future.
There you go. A Greek recap. We should change the name of Gnashing of Teeth to Drinking with the Occult. Anyway, we'll see what happens. All right, we're out of time, G. So let's do this. Let me sum up. I think it's a great start to the Greek Pantheon. I hit the origin, and you did exactly what I asked you to, is how would we connect it with the occult? You have that info. We didn't get into it, and I apologize for that. We kind of went off on different things. But to me, it's better. I like it when the timer hits and we're in the middle of it, because to me, it's just a good episode. You know? Sum it up. Tell me what you think. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I think it was good. It's a good topic. Definitely have to get more specific into different things in the future. I think that the audience would enjoy that, but just a general introduction.
Yep. All right. Good one. Another one. We're knocking it out. All right, man. I'll see you on the next one.